Okay, so I don't know how aware everyone is of the Liros and Leharos thing.
Yeah.
So I think people take it up to a certain point, but we're going to take a little bit further than we usually do. Okay, so the halacha in the shelat, which we're going to compare to the dafus, is b'chol dover dor chayv adam laharos es atzmo kiluhu ba'atzmo yata ata mishubim mitzrayim. In each and every generation, a person is obligated. How would you translate laharos?
To live, to make, I don't know, scene?
Yeah, to make scene, literally to make scene, to demonstrate or to appear, make oneself appear as though he himself now went out of the subjugation from Egypt. Shneimar v'osanu hoti misham. It says he took us out from there, and that's the diok is that us, not. It should say he took them out of there, but he took us out of there. Regarding this, it was commanded in the Torah, you shall remember that you were a slave. Now, if I asked you what context you think that appears in, do you have any guesses? Yeah, but not knowing anything else. I think actually Rambam Bekius has a different list. Yeah, so it's a trick question because first of all, I believe Rambam Bekius says, yeah, there's many psukim, okay, right? And if you look at them, they are not all. Rambam Bekius is a little annoying. Hold on, 5:14 is.
Is it just because you're seeing that? I was like, it's our shirt on that.
Okay, hold on a second. The Shabbos, that's one. Another one is 15:15, which is the requirement to give your slave good stuff when he leaves. Okay. Another one is 16:12, which is Shavuos. Okay, the mitzvah of Shavuos was
Shavuos is in the holiday?
Yeah, the holiday, yeah. Which is weird in Parshas Re'eh. I think that's the only one that it emphasizes Yetzias Mitzrayim, if I remember correctly. Wait, what I just missed the number. 24:18. He said this is with Losate Mishpat Ger Yasom Ba'almana, right? Or Ger Yasom, right? So not abusing the Ger and the Yasom, and then 24. I always do. Here. Another one with the what do you call it? The agricultural tzedakah stuff. So I believe Yad Peshutah says that this is the Rambam's own reason that he's supplying here. That whenever the Torah says it's harkening back to this idea. In other words, this is not just a halacha in Yetzias Mitzrayim in a Sipur, but it's everywhere. As if you yourself were an Ebed and you went out to freedom and were redeemed. Yeah.
Because the thing which I was legally saying before, we're going to be legally saying before is just so it's like generic thing where the Torah like based the authority of the mitzvahs and the fact that we serve them off of Yetzias Mitzrayim.
What do you mean by basing the authority?
As in the reason we do this mitzvah is I've always read that as because that you go to Egypt, that's why you're bound in mitzvah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I'd actually have to look at the context for each one of those to see whether it is the basis of the commandment or the purpose of the commandment. Mm-hmm. We'd have to see. But I mean, it's a legitimate question. Okay, so that's in the shelat version, Leharos. Okay, now if you look at the dafus, it's also Leharos. Okay, by the way, I'm color coding it blue as Leharos. Okay, so everything seems fine. Okay, but
that footnote says no.
Wait, what footnote?
22.
Oh no, 22 says, okay, so 22 says bet to Liros. So I knew someone was going to ask that. So
I know we would do this.
Yeah, I know. So I also looked it up also. So the key is that Aleph is a first order Mishnah Torah, which means it was made from the Rambam's copy. Okay. 2, bet it's a second order Mishnah Torah, which means it was made from a copy from the Rambam's copy. And this is bet 2, which is a manuscript, a Middle Eastern manuscript that we don't know who wrote it. but it was in the 13th or 14th century, and it's a partial copy. So that is the only one that says it. So it's strange, which means that this is, I mean, it doesn't mean this, but probably Leharos is the right one because it's in the first orders and even in the Dufus. Okay. However, if you go to Perek Ches, and also do we know the difference between Zayin and Ches?
In the Prakim?
In the Chametz Matzah. So Zayin is when he tells you what the theoretical halachos are, and then Ches is where he tells you how to do it. Okay. And then after Ches, or part of Ches, is the nusach of the Haggadah. Right. So in the Haggadah we say this line, and here you have in the Shelat version, you have Chayav Adam. Okay, so that's still consistent. But in the Dufus, you have, just do a search. Oh, that's the wrong one. Wait, oh no, sorry, that's the wrong one. Oh, Liros. Okay. So in the nusach of the Gada, it's switched in Dufus. Okay, now I used to think that, and then there are a lot of people who will treat this as a stira in the Rambam and then proceed to explain it. Okay, because they think that in the halachos he says Leharos, and in the Haggadah he says Liros. Okay, and I used to take that seriously and be like, oh, it's a stira, and then I was like, oh, this is just a Dufus. Okay, but then I realized that there's another place where the Rambam would address it, okay, which is, let's see what this says here, Sadi Gimel. So here you have in that second manuscript, it's Liros, and then also in the Dufus and in the Kafach, okay, it is Liros, okay. Now you might think, well, Kafach, what happened, okay? And by the way, in the Kisvei Yad Teimanim, which AlHaTorah also has, by the way, in case you want to know, it says it's also Leharos, so that must not be Kafach's one, okay. But there's another place, okay, which is in the Mishnah. Okay. In the Mishnah, it says in psachim Yud Hey, our version says Chayav Adam Liros, and the Rambam's version says Chayav Adam Liros. So now you actually have a real steer, right? Because the Rambam himself in the Mishnah has Liros, and in the Mishnah Torah consistently in the good ones has Leharos. Okay, so the question is, what do we make of that? And our Mishnah also says that, yeah. Oh, and let's look at the Kaufman. Have we talked about the Kaufman? I talk about this all the time in my Pirkei Avos shir. So the Ksav Yad, I mentioned in a Sunday shir. The Ksav Yad Kaufman is the most accurate text of the Mishnah. So I haven't seen what it says. It doesn't mean that it's the correct one, but it is the they say it's the most accurate. Chayav does not have it. That would be. That is okay. I guess it doesn't have it. Woo. Okay. Anyway, yeah, strange, very strange. Never seen that before. Okay, let me just look up, just make sure it's not like a Liros and Leharos. Okay, it doesn't have it. Very odd. I have not checked the Toseftas yet. Okay, I don't know if it would be there. Okay, so I'm going to show you two answers. Okay, one is Kafach, which is a creative answer that I don't know if it's sketchy, but it's definitely creative. Okay, so he acknowledges the discrepancy because he says, "Hashar divrei." Okay, Elashem Mishnah Mishnah gam b'ksav yad Rabbeinu atzmo kasav Liros v'kan v'gam nusach haggadah ksav yad Teiman siv Leharos. Right, so that's a contradiction. Uvakach lamadnu Rabbeinu heach likro es ha-Mishnah. So the Rambam is telling us how to read the Mishnah. Shalama shalimid. Or lamad Liros nikuda patach v'lo chirik. So he's saying you should not read it as Liros, but Laros. Okay. V'akavana. So I guess Laros means to show. I guess it's like Leharos. I don't really know enough grammar to tell whether this is a good idea or not. But here's his idea. V'akavana shehis pa'aluso alitzuso v'simchas libo mishichru nafsho v'rucho min ha'alilios. That the person's emotions of joy and the gladness of his heart at the freedom of his soul and his spirit from the misfortunes and their offshoots, the shichru gufo, and the freedom of his body, min hahismachrus la'avdus l'chosugeha, from being subjugated to servitude in all of its categories. Shrichim lios boltim, they need to be expressed, v'nibatim, and visible, v'lorak b'sisri levavo, and not just in his heart. So he's trying to say that really it is, the real chiyuv is liros, but the shear of liros is it has to be visibly manifest. So there's a concept of like a kiyum belev, right, of like simcha or an avelus, but not all kiyumim belev are necessarily visible. Here he's saying though that it has to reach the point where it's visible, which is a very nice idea. Whether it's an explanation for what the Rambam was like trying to do by like writing this one, that I don't quite buy, that he like wrote it in the Mishnah in one way and then in the Mishnah Torah in another. Like, and I don't know enough about the Rambam whether he deliberately changes the wording of the Mishnah to express his ideas or not. Like, I just don't know enough to say whether that's like too bold of a change. Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is that the Rambam felt that Liros was a common mistake someone might make, so he just changed it because he thought if you just wrote Liros, people make the same mistake of making the same all the time with the Mishnah.
Right, but it's not just a mistake in reading it, but it's also a mistake in what you're supposed to do, and that's why the Rambam does go on, which we won't have time to do today. He does go on to say, I wanted to read two more things. Is lefikach kishasoit adam b'lalazet tzarich le'achol b'lishos hu mesav derech Leharos. So he holds that the heseva and the arbakosos is an expression of the liros that has to be visibly manifest. Okay, and I think that's what the Yad Peshutah is going to say. Let's see. We're not going to read the whole Yad Peshutah, but he says, okay, so he also acknowledges the difference, and he says, the Rambam is adding, it's not enough just to see yourself as though you left. You need to say it with a full mouth, meaning, I guess, with a meaning. You need to show as if you left Mitzrayim. Where it says, Amar Rabbi Levi, since it's the derech of servants to eat while standing, Lakan lios ochlin mesubin lahodia, Leharos, shiatsu me'avdas Leharos. So it says that here we need to eat while we are reclining in order to make known, which the Yad Peshutah is saying that's where the Rambam gets Leharos. That has to be a manifestation of your seeing yourself. Shiatsu me'avdas Leharos. Yeah. And then he says, umiata harchava hosif, sorry, umidaita harchava harachava hosif b'beinu odbir al yinizev al davar zet tziva hakadosh baruch hu b'Torah v'zkarta kiyeva chayisa. Einzo mitzvah nosefes. This is not a new mitzvah of remembering that you're an eved. Ela bir b'mitzvah says zachoras yom hazeh asher yitzasem mitzrayim. And then he goes into the more nevuchim, which we're not going to do today. And then he makes the point I made about lefikach. Yeah. So either way, it does seem to be that the Rambam holds that it does have to be manifest, and he does hold that the Mishnah says liros, or at least is written liros. Whether you buy Qafih's thing of laros, or whether you just buy the explanation that it's a kiyum belev that has to be manifest, I think that's like the best explanation. I mean, like, you're going to get to the same point, you know. I also want to do public teshuvah about speaking lashon hara against Rav Nachman yesterday. So the whole thing I said about Rav Nachman asking his servant if Rav Nachman said to Daru Avda Damapi Le Mare Leharos V'Yahiv Le Kasba V'Dava My Bai Le Memarle Amar Le Bai Le Dui Yoshevuche. Right. So what would a servant do if his master freed him? And I said it's kind of a mean thing to taunt him that way. So Yad Peshutah says Mistaber Shedaru Ze Shichru Rav Nachman. It's Mistaber that Rav Nachman did free his servant Daru. V'lachein pana elav b'she'elazon. That's why he turned to him with this question. Ilu lo shichruro. If he did not free him, then that would be a verbal oppression and causing pain and anguish. We shouldn't even think that he would do such a thing. And remember, this is actually like an isser in terms of how you treat the Eved Kanani, which we'll just end with for today. In Avadim, I think it's at the very end of Avadim. So he says, Yeah. Chachamim harishonim hayu nosnim le'eved mikol tavshil v'tavshil shayu ochlin. The early sages would give to their eved some of every cooked dish that they would eat. Umakdimim mazon habehemos v'havanim al sudas atman. They would feed their animals and their servants before themselves. Hari Omer ke'ini avadim el yad adonehim ke'ini shivcha el yad gebirta. Like the eyes of a servant to the hand of their master, so are the eyes of like the eyes of a maidservant to her mistress. And then we say, so that's another kima of halakha b'drachav, right? Seeing those everywhere now. You should not scorn him either. I've never seen that biyad, scorning someone with the hand. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, or with words. La'avdus masar because of lo lebusha. The Torah gave him over to Abdus not for shame. Below yarbe alav tzaka, because you shouldn't shout or get angry at him excessively. Eli yadaber imo benachas v'yishma tanosav. You should speak with him gently and listen to his complaints. This is also one of the explicit things that Eov praised himself with when he was talking about his good ways. Im emas mishpat avdi. Did I despise the justice of my servant Va'amasi and my maidservant Berivam imadi when they were quarreling with me? Hello bebetin oseni asahu v'yechonanu b'rechem echad. Were we not made in the same womb? Meaning I'm a human being just like they are, or they are a human being just like me. Vein ha'achzaris v'hazus mitzuya el begoyim ha'arelim. Cruelty and brazenness is only found in the uncircumcised goyim. Valzar shel Abraham. What was it?
I was wondering who's going to bring in Zar Shel Avraham.
Oh yeah, Zar Shel Avraham Avinu v'hem Yisrael she'ishpia HaKadosh Baruch Hu lahem tovas haTorah v'tzivam v'chukim u'mishpatim tzadikim. But the seed of Avraham Avinu and their Israel, who God bestowed upon them the goods of the Torah and commanded them in the chukim mishpatim that are righteous. Rachmanin heim al-kol. They're merciful to everyone, even to bugs giving them CPR. Oh, there you go. I didn't realize he quotes that there. Same thing in the Mikdash Baruch Hu, that we are commanded to emulate. He's merciful on all of his works. We read that in Tzedakah also. I have given. That is a different one. Yeah. No, that was in the ear. That's the ear hanidachas, right? I remember we did this because the anyone who hides his eyes from giving tzedakah, it's as if he's over devoted zara, and that was the pasuk that they quoted. I think that he quoted. Yeah. So I think that's the basis of this. Is not just my point in quoting that is that the upshoot is not just giving a stam being malamed zechus on Rav Nachman. It's like it'd be usher for it's against the midas chachamim harishonim and zara shel Avraham to like just taunt your servant like that. Yeah.
Just so first, it still leaves a question of if it's the case, why is Rambam quoting that?
No, the Rambam's not quoting that. No. The Pshuta is quoting that.
No. Then the Rambam quote that you should point out to your servant like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but that's I see. Pointing out the Eved is different than asking the Eved, what would you do if your master freed you and then not freeing him? Like it doesn't even necessarily mean that like you're engaging the Eved in the conversation. You're right. Pointing out to your Ben Tipesh, So I think that there's no need to say that the Rambam was expecting you to free your servant, but with Daro, then that's a different story. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So I guess I don't know what day it is.
It's Thursday.
It is Thursday. Yeah. Okay, fine. So we'll see where we are at next week. What a week. Okay.
All right. How are you feeling in general?